I thought I would take advantage of the training point buyback this week and make a guide on what to spend your training points on. I'm going to break it down into 3 different time periods: early game, mid game, and late game, where early game focuses on the first 25 levels, mid game focuses on level 50 to 110, and late game being anything after 110. So let's go ahead and buy back all my training points. As a max level wizard, having done every single training point quest in the game, I have 68 training points to use. In the early game, you get training points every 4 levels up until level 20, so you get 5 training points by leveling up, as well as 1 training point from the 2 Ravenwood quest, and you can get training points from the Zeke quests. So by level 25, you should have 9 training points. The very first thing you should do is go to Dworgen and train up everything you can up until Fiend. So that means you need to train 6 spells total, because you don't need Dream Golem to get Fiend. You just need to go up through Vampire and then you get Fiend. So right there, I've used 6 training points. So now I have all these spells, but the only one that you need is Fiend. Now the next most important spell you should get comes from Niles. Once you hit level 25, you should be able to train either Elemental Blade or Spirit Blade. And in doing so, you now have access to an extra blade and a Fiend. The rest of the stuff you get from Niles, you can train that optionally if you want to use it for support or a secondary trap of your type. A lot of people also train up to Satyr, which costs 7 training points, and I think while this may be worth it, there are better ways to spend your training points on more important spells later on that may be lost if you were to use up all your training points training Satyr. And the same thing applies to Tower Shield. Although that only costs 5 training points, I think it's better to save your training points until later than spending enough training points on Satyr or Tower Shield. So overall, for the early game, the only training points you should really spend are the ones to get Fiend from Dworgen and your school's Blade from Niles. Otherwise, I suggest keeping your training points until we start Celestia. Now once you get to Celestia, you should get a quest from Luella Corey, who allows you to start using the Astral Schools. So once you get that quest, you can then use the Astral School trainers down here. Starting in the mid game, the only spells you really want to train are all of these enchantments that increase the amount of damage. So first you get Strong, and then Giant at level 52. And those are the only spells you can get from the Sun School trainer in the Celestial base camp. Later on in Celestia, you get access to the Floating Land, which has another Sun School trainer, where you can then train Monstrous at level 56, and Gargantuan at level 58. Next, we need to go to Zafaria to do stuff that will allow us to unlock more spells later. Now, sometime in the middle of the Zamunda outskirts, as well as once you reach level 64, Inyanga White Stripes will give you a quest called Astral Weeks that you must complete in order to unlock the Star School trainers of Zafaria. Now, you may not need spells from that now, but you absolutely need spells from it later, so go ahead and do that as soon as you can. The same thing happens at level 66 in the middle of the Drum Jungle, which then allows you to unlock the Sun School trainer in the Drum Jungle. This Drum Jungle quest is absolutely necessary at this point because that gets you the last enchantment buff that you get for a very long time. So here at the entrance to the Drum Jungle from Stone Town lies the Sun School trainer, all the way down here. And this will give you Colossal, which will last you from literally level 64 all the way to level 110. Over here in Zamunda, down here, there is the Star School trainer. These 2 spells are optional, especially Mend for if you're a healer, but Berserk is a spell that you will absolutely need to learn at some point. You may not need to learn it now, and you can always learn it again from someone else later, and I'll show you that when we get to the late game. The next trainers we need are going to be in Azteca. So this is the reason why you need to complete those side quests in Zafaria, because if you don't, you will not be able to access the quests that give you the trainers here in Azteca. At level 84, sometime during the Cenote, you should get a quest from Pakal Redmask that's called Across the Universe, which leads to the quest 3rd star on the left, and this will unlock the star trainers here in Azteca. And you have to do that quest in order to get the Sun School trainer here in Azteca as well. At level 86, and once you finish the Mangrove Marsh and go into the Salt Meadow Swamp, Pekal will then give you the quest Turn Up the Sun. And for consistency, after you've completed Turn Up the Sun, at level 88, Zaylin Reedwalker will then give you a quest that will allow you to unlock the Moon Trainer here in Azteca. So over here is the Star School Trainer. It will give you your own school plus 25% damage buff, as well as Power Pip or Accuracy buff, and an increase in damage from your opposite school. I think this is better than Berserk, as Berserk is a 40% incoming damage versus 5 or 10% incoming damage. You can also get Cycle of Life if you're a healer. Next is a Sun School Trainer, and here you can get Primordial if you're a healer, as well as Potent Trap and Sharpened Blade, which are absolute necessities from here on out. So overall, for the mid game, all of the spells you should be getting are Sun spells that increase your damage, Star School spells that give you a damage aura, and then Sun School spells that give you the Sharpened Blade and Potent Trap and maybe Primordial. Once you hit level 110, you can come here to the Arcanum. If you don't have access through quests, you can actually come here through an Arcanum apartment through castle tours, and come over here to the Astral School Trainer. This Astral School Trainer Kyburn has all of the Astral School spells for Sun and Star that you could have gotten so far. So if you want to just come here to the Arcanum, you're more than welcome to, but this is where that issue comes in where you need to do the side quests. Because if you haven't done the side quests like I haven't here on my balance, you won't be able to actually learn these spells. So now that we're here, we can go ahead and learn Epic, which is one that is absolutely necessary. This is the next damage enchant. And now is when you use some of those that were optional. So here is Berserk, that was optional. You want to train that now because a spell that is used at this high level is Frenzy, where it's 40 outgoing damage for 30 incoming damage. So that's better than Berserk because the damages are switched. You can also upgrade now from Primordial to Radical. You can get Renew, but you might not want Renew because of Cycle of Life, but Renew is Cycle of Life without any of the other aspects to it. I don't think Brace is absolutely required, but you also need to get Fortify if you get Brace, and I have gotten this on my Ice Wizard for a specific strategy against the Rat at the end of Polaris. So even now, after all of the absolutely necessary spells, I still have 51 training points left. So I'm going to go over some more optional ones that I think are helpful for people. One that I think is on the higher end of optional is here in Colossus Boulevard. There is a secret trainer in this house down here that will allow you to train Reshuffle, which is one that I think is absolutely necessary for my strategies. And if you didn't know, this is where you get your Disc spells and Life Trap. And another I like to train from is Sabrina Greenstar here in the fairgrounds, where you can train all the different shields for specific schools. Another optional spell is here with Diego, where you can train Stun Block. I think this is absolutely necessary for high level myth wizards because you can set up a double Scion using 2 Stun Block spells. And again, at higher levels, you may have very high damage in a second school, such as I do. In that case, you might want to spend a lot of training points on getting all of the different spells for your secondary school. I'm going to be skipping all of the PvP only spells because I don't PvP, and that is just another way to spend your training points. There is also a badge associated with learning all the different moon spells up to level 88, and I will have a video showcasing that coming out soon. So overall, those are the spells that I think you absolutely need to train. Feint, Spirit or Elemental Blade, all the different damage enchants from the Sun School, your school's Star Aura, Sharpened Blade and Potent Trap, any healing assists, Reshuffle, and all the other optional spells that I showed you. If you like this guide, please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.